First you have to get funky. Hey. You style a little bit. Know where the cameras is. Then you went to where?
Oh, smooth.
Then you through?
All right. We're here grooving with the Groovaloos. We're out on the street in lovely downtown Los Angeles. And right now we got a very special guest and a good friend, one of the original Lockers, Mr. Greg Kamelok Jr. Thanks for coming down.
Hey, nice to be here, Brady.
This is one of the guys that started it all off with the style in the late 60s and early 70s. Tell me, Greg, how did you guys get together? How did you guys hook up all the different members of the group? How did the Lockers happen?
Well, each member of the group, we came in like as friends. It was like a coalition of friends first. And that's how the original guys got together. Don Campbell was actually the one who started Locking.
Right.
And like from that end, I got the title of Kamelok Jr. I kind of like innovated and expand what he did. But the first thing I had to do was to kind of like break down what Don did. It made it more understandable about, to others and how it came about, the evolution of the dance as a completion. The original people at that time was myself,
right,
Don Campbell.
Okay.
It was a guy named Robot Charles, who was one of my best friends, and he had a dance partner named Ann. They were my best friends. They're the ones who introduced me to Don Campbell. And when I first met Don, like it wasn't fully developed yet, but I knew that he had something. It was something different. So I kept my eye on Don. And
what were you doing though at that time? Like when you?
Well, there were dances out at that time called the Breakdown, and the Funky Chicken was out.
Oh, okay.
And as you will find out that these dances developed, I added into Locking. Now in my neighborhood, I was already known as a good dancer, a good dancer. Don was a little different. He couldn't dance at all. One of our friends, some of his friends showed him some different things, and he developed his style.
Was it kind of like were you doing like just club dancing, or was it certain style?
No,
just grooving?
The breakdown was a type of a dance. Remember Aretha Franklin had a song, Rock Steady, Baby, and the breakdown was like, Aretha Franklin, the breakdown, Rock Steady.
Right.
And there was some dancing, and Don was locking, and he turned his hat and he pointed, right? So what I did, I said, Don was kind of a muscular guy.
Right.
And he had like buff. He was like, and he was my hero. I mean, like, he was like Superman to me.
Right.
And I was one of these guys, I was always into animation and filmmaking and stuff, and I liked to dance. And I was well known for dancing and sports in my neighborhood. I grew up in Compton. Fluky, his cousin went to high school with me. Fluky was Leo Williamson.
The Leo Walk, right? The Leo Walk.
His cousin was a cheerleader at our school, so he used to come from LA to Compton. So we became friends. Now, it was the beginning of Soul Train. Soul Train was like an outlet for us. They didn't really help us, as far as it gave us the idea of how camera blocking was, the professionalism. But it was our chance to experiment. We got a little exposure. Now, Fluky was Yell King at his school, Crenshaw High School.
Okay.
He was the first to come in the clique. I taught him after I had broken down. Now, how we did with locking, Don had the basics, lock, the point, and the turning in the hat. And of course, everybody did the splits in those days. Except for Don did it different. He was able to kick, split, and come up smooth, right?
Right.
So what I did was I used to hang out with Don. He kind of taught me, he was my big brother. I never had a big brother. And he used to teach me the ropes and how things go. He said, these girls like you. So, I would want to just dance, right? So, I didn't, want to put him on the spot and tell him to break it down to me. I have my uncles, and uncles are military men. They are 10 years or more, so I'm very regimented.
Yeah.
I know how to break things down. So, and my dad was a dancer. My dad used to win cha-cha contests.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I always danced, so I had a storehouse of tricks. I used to do acrobats and stuff like that. And
I remember
even in
seeing
my
that.
hood, I used to be known for this guy who could just cut up a party. So I had a storehouse of tricks I already wanted to use. And so, but I said, this dance is gonna take over. And the way we started developing is what we would get together as a clique. It was Fluky Luke, It was a guy named Sambo Locke, a guy named Scooby-Doo, Fred Berry, we used to call him Mr. Penguin, and Don brought him in, and then there were the Go-Go Brothers, right, different periods. It was like a clique that we hung around each other every day. Now I'm the one who kind of like philosophized breakdown of it to them.
Right.
And we would initiate each other. As soon as you really want to do it, I would show the guys what it was and what we could, even if I had to make it up,
Right.
I would label it.
Right, now show me some of the stuff that you did. What were the beginning
Okay,
stuff
for
you did?
example, one day Fluky and I, me, Fluky, Sambo, and Robot Charles was in the car together. We were going, and we were going to a friend of ours' house. And we were hungry, we stopped at Jack in the Box. And this is when the handshake came. And whatever I would do, everybody would do it. I said, so I was standing there waiting for my burger to get ready. And I said, Fluky, don't say nothing, don't say nothing. Just do what I say. And I'm standing there in the Jack in the Box. I said, he said, what you mean, Greg? I said, I got an idea. I said, do what I said. So up, lock, twirl, grab, up, down, jump, boom, boom. And he would do it because I had steps.
Right.
So they knew what I was talking about. And whatever it was, we could be like, we would be driving down the street and we'd get to a stop sign and a good song would come on and the light is red, we would jump out the car. Back in the car, drive. That's where it was.
Right,
That's
right.
back in the day.
That's right.
And we would label that. We will make up a name for that. Then the rest of the guys around town, different parts of LA, we showed them in
Right.
a span. So the basis part, it was Don that started to feed us, and it grew. And then, and then it became of a spreading of things. Tony
Yeah.
Basil came in. She was a friend of Don's, and she had the mastermind to know what to do with that
Right.
professionally. That's where I learned my professionalism from. Tony Basil.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people that were interested in us and tried to get us to come into their fold.
Yeah.
But she was the only one that came correct with us.
Right.
I didn't, at my age, I was only 19 at the time. I didn't know anything what was called professionalism, but I
Right.
knew what was called organized.
Right.
And I knew what it meant to the heart. This dance was something that changed my life. I became a character instead of a person. And I was always, like I said, I was always into special effects and animation. And before I can, buy that equipment that does that,
Right.
I could do it with my body.
Right.
And so I was very regimented in breaking things down to become part of that crew.
Well, because your style, what you do, inspires us so much as the Groovaloos, and especially like Lock and Key. She's one of your proteges, and myself and Boogeyman. Well, all of us, the styles were all influenced, and just so thankful for yourself and the Lockers and the Boogaloos and other people, and Hugo and Jazzy J and all those other people.
Yeah.
And now, what do you see locking? How it's evolving, and and what inspires you now? What people inspire you now?
Dancing for me, how I've been encouraged is that I know that I started as a principle. Everything with locking is like a philosophy. I don't just teach dance, it's a part of me, which
Right.
means everything is regimented. Just like ballet. When the Lockers lasted for 10 years, and most of the producers and directors, people like Dick Clark, they all know that we have locking to a science where we were perfected. And anybody that's learned through me is learned that
Right.
actual style. And it's a different, just like if you went to a ballet school or something, you could tell a person that went to a second-class ballet school if they did the tourniquet or pas de chat wrong, or somebody that elevated their ballet.
Exactly.
It's obvious. First, you got to learn the basics, the way it was, what made it. Now, what has encouraged me is that there have been people from different generations, like when the breaking and the popping and the hip-hop came out, outstanding people who held their own on the dance floor, who approached me to learn the true style. That's when I got something back.
Yeah.
Because those people told me that they wanted to study the way it was in the beginning so that they could take theirs to the next level.
Right.
Because that's what I had to do with Don. And that's what we had to do. We had to show people that at that time, ballet people and jazz and tap people were getting all the jobs. And then there was the period when the lockers were there, everybody was getting fired. We got everybody working again.
Right.
But we wasn't getting paid like dancers. We were getting paid like rock musicians and actors. And we had our own spot. So what I see on the third part of that question is how can we get that back?
Right.
See, a lot of the dancers today doesn't know that position where they can get out front of the artist by themselves. We did that for 10 years. Now, in order to do that again, you have to show the world that it's not just as simple as they thought it was.
Yep.
And what is that you do, like you're one of those people who encourage me. Because you give me something back because of what you've learned and you did. Even before we first knew each other, you had already done your own research, which means that tells me that this person just not playing with it. So I feel open-hearted to a person like you, and you give me something back. That's how I've lasted all these years.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Greg Camelot Jr., grooving with the Groovaloos. That was nice. That was great. That was great. Thank you. That was fantastic.
You like that?
Oh, man, as always.